What's up, J Fusion fans, and welcome to another superhero time review. And boy, do we have an intense week of episodes for Kamen Rider Saber and Kira Major. So, before we continue on, I would like to remind everyone that these videos are not intended for viewers under the age of 13, so please be advised. And of course, some spoiler alerts just in case. So, pardon the sun, it's shining quite strongly after being uh, unclouded. But anyways, so moving on with today's episodes. Now, for Kamen Rider Saber, I would say that the main highlight of this episode is the debut of Kamen Rider Caliber Jao Dragon. And I would say that, yeah, it does look pretty cool, but the helmet, strangely, kind of reminds me of Madan Senki Ryukendo, which is a tokusatsu show created by Takara Tomy and was shown in around 2004 or 2005, more within that time. So it was a one-off show, but yeah, the design of Kamen Rider Caliber Jiao Dragon does remind me of, especially the helmets from Ryukendo. You guys can look for that. You can Google it and see what Ryukendo looks like, and I definitely get that vibe from Kamen Rider Caliber Jiao Dragon. So, despite being the debut episode of that form, I would also say that this may actually be, or this is most likely, a Kento focused episode. So, a lot of the story for today revolves around Kento, while of course Toma does things, and this kind of leads us to uh, probably the subplot of today's episode. So, what happens is so Megiddo sends out a few shimmies in different parts of the city. So of course the Logos riders have to respond to it separately. Now Toma does defeat one of them, and the other was defeated by Ren, actually. So what's interesting is what happens after they defeated the shimmies. Now, it seems that Megiddo is probably trying to unlock some sort of magical gateway uh, that somehow actually requires the shimmies to be destroyed. So, this is just my observation, so I'm not sure what's going to happen yet because apparently they're waiting for other energy sources. That's how I see it. But yeah, maybe in the next episode we would find more about that. So this is just my observation. Now, another part of the story involving Caliber is that, of course, Sophia is seen trying to meet up with him. So she is most likely going to ask some questions, most definitely asking him why. He became Caliber, and of course, she also wants to know what happened to Hayato uh, Fukamiya, aka Kento's father, aka the first Kamen Rider Caliber. So uh, she basically somehow, while Kento and Daichi were battling, so while Espada and Caliber were fighting, Sophia suddenly vanishes. So what happens to that? I'm not sure. So we don't see what happened, but is it a possible kidnapping situation, or is she going to be a hostage? I'm not sure. And there is some sort of a scene where Reika, so the messenger from the southern branch, or from the southern base branch of the Sword of Logos. So she actually informs Kento of the whereabouts of Caliber. Now, looking at Reika, I'm not sure, but she acting sus, no? But then again, because she is technically part of the Sword of Logos, we don't know her true intentions yet. Although so far she is considered an ally, but who knows what developments could happen. But I guess another interesting point, and this may have been carried over from the previous episode. So the narrator of this show, so this character named Tassel, is also acting suspicious, and by the end of the episode, his door, his house, so the doorbell rings, and he seems to have been expecting someone. So probably Tassel may have a more active role in the series in later episodes. So this is what one thing that you could watch out for if you're watching Kamen Rider Saber. Now, overall, I guess, well, Zhao Dragon looks cool. The fight scenes are intense, and actually, you know, I'm really intrigued as to what would happen next. Now, this is where I probably would say that the show is starting to pick up on the story, and so far we have no information on the other common writers that are going to be introduced. uh, I may have said this last week, but they are most likely going to be the riders that belong to the southern base branch of the Sword of Logos, where Reika comes from. So, again, if there's any information about those riders in the future, of course, we will keep you posted. So, stay tuned for that. So, now we're going to move to Kira Major. Now, as you may have seen in the previews, so Sayo seems to start off this episode by going on a date. And of course, to the guest character that we have for today, I think his name is Yuto, or Yuito. I'm not sure, but I would probably read his name as Yuto. Kanji is difficult, but so far, yeah. So things, start kind of like, quite romantic. So the other Kira majors are curious as to how the date went. And they keep asking Sayo questions like, "Do you like this guy?" or "What do you think?" Sayo seems to show interest actually, but uh, of course, they suddenly realize that. So the other Kira majors realize that if Sayo actually decides to marry this guy, she may have to quit being a Kira major, which, upon realization, the other Kira majors didn't like that thought. But of course, they are very much supportive of Sayo, and just in case that she actually gets married, they probably would have had her back anyway. And what is interesting in this episode, so Sayo shows us. Oh my god. I'm not sure if I should say this because it would probably spoil what would happen. But okay, so we are introduced to a new seed, or during this episode. So there is a seed that is obviously created by the Jotunheim. So this seed looks awfully devious or definitely suspicious. But um, Sayo, oh, okay. So I'm sorry. I'm going to spoil this part maybe. But turns out that the guy she's dating has been working with Jotunheim. I'm sorry I had to spoil this, but but I really want to explain what happened. So uh, the guy that Sayo is dating turns out to be working with Yodonna, uh, but not because he wants to, but he was under threat. Okay, but this seed that he's been working on, because this guy is actually a geneticist. So this Yuto guy is a geneticist, or some genetic engineer. So he asks Sayo for help to unlock the secrets of that seed and some genetic manipulation later, because somehow Sayo knows uh, genetics. Well, this seed brings trouble. And from what I've been seeing, the goal of Jotunheim is to bring forth their true leader into the human world by gathering negative energy, and this seed that causes trouble in this episode, uh, you know, may be key to that uh, event, bringing the true leader of Jotunheim into the human world. So that is interesting to see. Now, for the subplot, there's actually this little bit of Garza being shown. So he has his own plans, uh, and yes, most likely involving his brother. But I guess that one I will not spoil. But bad things do happen. That's what I can say for at least. But that's besides the point of today's episode. Sayo is badass. I I just don't have any other words to say, but Sayo is badass in this episode, really. And if you love Sayo already, then this is definitely, an opportunity. This is definitely going to make you love her even more. And she basically risks her life in this episode, and kind of realizing that she's dating the wrong kind of guy. But nonetheless, uh, and what's interesting, this episode is actually going to be somewhat of a two-parter. So this is not a conclusive episode. We are given a cliffhanger ending, but definitely it was an intense episode, especially when Sayo realizes what's going on, when she sees what's happening. Superb. That's all I can say. Today's Kira Major is superb. Watch it. I know I spoiled the important parts, but you really have to watch it to see for yourselves how badass of a character Sayo can be. Oh, now I really have to say Kira Major is really great in terms of a story. I just feel sorry that their toy sales have been pretty poor, I would say, given the fact that last week we basically had an entire episode dedicated to focusing on the deluxe Kira Major Robo sets. But again, story wise, Kira Major is good. If you're looking for, compelling characters, a great story, there's not much of a plot really in Kira Major. This is very much a character driven show. You don't have to collect the Kirame stones in order to defeat the enemy. This is just focusing on the character. So if you love character driven shows, definitely Kina Major is one of those within the Super Sentai franchise. If you love characters, absolutely go watch Kira Major. And I honestly think It's kind of underrated, especially with the sales, but I just love watching it for the characters. So for today's Kamen Rider Saber, I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5. So things are starting to get intense, and I'm definitely hooked. I'm definitely going to watch it to find out more, uh, especially with Kamen Rider Caliber. Uh, like what is his motivation for becoming a villain, despite him being the original Saber and saving Toma's life in the first episode. So yeah, seeing that kind of character suddenly turn villain is really intriguing and definitely makes me want to see more. Kira Major keeps on delivering it with heavy emphasis on characters, and the execution of today's episode, my god, simply 5 out of 5. If I could rate it 10 out of 5, is it possible? Because it's simply amazing. So, anyways, thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you did, please do leave a like, comment, share this video, subscribe, and don't forget that notification bell so you get the latest from JE Fusion. This has been Philip, and I'll see you next week with another Superhero Time episode.